Hi, everyone, and welcome to
The Movie House.
Today we're going to talk to you about a movie from 1985 called Out of Africa, starring Meryl Streep and Robert Redford.
One of the best movies ever. Historical fiction. It's based on the book by Isaac Denson, née Karen Blixen, called Out of Africa. And I read the book, or started reading it, many years ago. Oh my gosh, yeah, over 30 years ago, after I'd seen Out of Africa. And I didn't finish it, but I need to. I found a copy recently and bought it, and I have it on my nightstand to read after I finish Gone with the Wind. But it has the iconic line, just as the movie, "I had a farm in Africa," as Meryl Streep does it in a Danish accent. And it's just one of the most romantic, beautiful films ever made. I rank it up there with Gone with the Wind.
Okay. Oh, okay.
For historical fiction and for beauty and cinematography, music, costuming, all of it. I remember, because of the success of Out of Africa, that The Limited came out with a line of clothing called Outback Red, which is more Australian, but I think it was because of Out of Africa, and it was just this beautiful line of very feminine, very romantic clothing. And I was fortunate enough to own several blouses and skirts, and I felt like a princess and $1 million whenever I wore anything from Outback Red. But I think that was influenced because of Out of Africa.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
I had no idea.
Yes.
I've never heard that before.
Fashion.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. I saw it when it was originally out on video in the late 80s, and I didn't think of much of it then. I liked it more this time. It's still a woman's perspective of story.
Yes.
Seen it through her eyes. And but it's beautifully shot. Sidney Pollack directed the movie. He's always good. I like pretty much everything he does to some degree. And he and Redford worked together several times over the years, including on this one. So it's beautiful. It's a good story, but I don't know that I'd put it up there with Gone with the Wind.
Well, see, and being a romantic and being a woman, yes, I'm a woman. This English Patient, Gone with the Wind, Out of Africa, Cleopatra, I think they're very strong, compelling stories of strong women and beautiful women and women who are feminine, which I really appreciate that. None of these women, they live in a men's world, but they don't lose one bit of their femininity. Not one bit. They're intelligent, they're creative, they're adventuresome, they're everything a woman could be and should be, but I love it that they don't try to be a man, which is wonderful. And again, it's a true story based on Karen Blixen's life. When she marries her cousin, she goes, she's in where are Danes from? Where are the Danes? Denmark. She's, from Denmark and goes all the way to Africa. That was quite the journey for a woman.
This is the early 1900s. Too.
Early 1900s. Well, golly, probably really late. It's not early 1900s. Yeah, it is. Or late.
Yeah, they have cars and stuff.
Right. Yeah, they get cars.
Yeah.
But when she goes there, they don't have cars yet. I don't believe. But anyway, she goes there and they do a coffee farm. She had a farm, and I believe they were originally supposed to raise cattle. I think she was going to raise dairy cattle, and her husband changed. And I don't know if that's true or not, so you might want to check that out. But they ended up growing coffee, which had never been done before in that area. So it's very interesting how she has to be very flexible, and she has to change her expectations and everything, because this is not what was planned, and now it's something entirely different and new that she doesn't have any idea what she's doing.
Right.
So I think she understood cows, but not necessarily coffee. But it's just and then just her relationships with the colonists from Britain, and I think it's mainly Britain that are there. It's a colony of Brits that she becomes acquainted with, where they are in Africa, and just dealing with war there and war abroad, the politics abroad and the politics in Africa, and becoming part of a new culture, and all that entails, and leaving behind your home, what you're familiar with. And she's a storyteller, and that's the gist about who she is. She's a storyteller, and she was in real life, and that comes across in the movie as well, that she's able to amuse herself and others because she has a brilliant imagination and is a wonderful storyteller. Which, when you think about back then, they didn't have movies, they didn't have radio, they have the phonograph, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. And so a storyteller is held in high esteem.
Okay.
But it has wonderful actors. Like you said, Meryl Streep and Robert Redford are awesome. Michael Kitchen, who, if you like Foyle's War, he's in it.
Right.
He plays Robert Redford's really, really good friend. And there's a lot of wonderful British actors. And yeah.
Klaus Maria Brandau.
Yeah, he's great. And there's just a lot of good acting. All the acting is very, very
Yes,
good.
it's very well done. The acting is good. The directing is good. Like I said, it's beautiful. It's an interesting story. But yeah, it's not a guy movie, in my opinion.
Right. Well, see, I think it is a guy movie because you've got war, you've got lions, you've got hunting, you've got hunting elephants, you've got trains. So, did I mention war? So, I think it's a wonderful. It's romance, but it's large scale, like the English Patient. It's got this wonderful background story. So here's about a coffee farm in Africa, and the politics and the war and the cultures and the culture clash. I think it's really, really good, and some men might enjoy it.
Yeah, it won a bunch of Oscars.
Oh, and one of my favorite pieces of movies. One of my I know how to speak. One of my favorite pieces of music is John Barry's theme from Out of Africa. Oh my gosh, it just makes me want to cry. It's so beautiful. And the violins in it are just awesome. So that's one of my favorite pieces of music of all time, is the theme for this movie.
Yes.
So there's a plug for that too.
2 hours and 24 minutes long.
Not long enough.
So it's a longer movie, but it moves along pretty well. And like I said, it's not a bad movie. I liked it a lot better the second time I watched it, but
it's in my library. I brought it with me into the marriage.
Okay. So there you go. For whatever that's worth, you pick.
He's so cute.
You decide if you want to watch it or not. It's really well done.
It's a beautiful movie.
It's got a lot going for it. It really does, technically speaking, and all that.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Check it out.
There you go. That's it for us. See you again next time.
Bye.